Look at the monitors. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Jambo! My name's Jonathan Margolis. I'm a Deputy Assistant Secretary in the United States State Department, where I'm responsible for science, space, and health issues. And I want to introduce you all, some of you may never have heard of this term, to GIST, Global Innovation Through Science and Technology. How many of you yesterday had a chance to hear the two presidents talking about innovation and entrepreneurship? That was fun. Yeah? Yeah? Yeah, no, I thought it was great. If you heard my president talk about it, President Obama, he was talking about the centrality of entrepreneurship and innovation towards achieving all kinds of societal goals. And I can tell you from personal experience of working on the issues that I just mentioned, science, space, and health, that the President Obama, has put science and technology at the center of that innovation agenda. Here's what's going on with that. It's the ideas, it's the technologies, it's the products that are ultimately going to make it possible for us to solve all of the global challenges that are out there. Those challenges, as you well know, energy provision. You heard a lot about that today if you were attending certain sessions. Health issues, heard a lot about that. Food issues. Job creation. All the challenges we face as a society, no matter which society you're in, can be solved through science and technology. So GIST is the mechanism we have to bring the President's vision forward. And I was fortunate enough to be working in the State Department on these issues at a time when the President gave his speech in Cairo in 2009 and talked about all of these types of issues and about unleashing science and technology internationally so that we could help other countries achieve the innovation societies that we're blessed to have in the United States. The premise of GIST is this. It's a very simple premise. If people, potential entrepreneurs, feel they have the confidence, the knowledge, the understanding of what it takes to be an entrepreneur, they're more likely to take the risks and become an entrepreneur. And on that basic premise, what we've created is a series of programs and activities all designed to do exactly that. So over the course of any given year, we'll run competitions, we'll run boot camps, we'll run web chats. We have study tours that come to the United States, place entrepreneurs in incubators and in accelerators. And we do something once a year connected with the Global Entrepreneurship Summit, which is the TechI competition. I'll say just a word about that in a minute. We launched this program just 4 years ago. We started actually doing the programs that I just described. And in the 4 years since we've been operational, we've reached over just about 5,000 entrepreneurs around the world, 5,000 entrepreneurs. Those entrepreneurs who have come through GIST programs, the revenues from their companies have generated over $110 million to date. That's good. That's the program that we had. Last year at the Global Entrepreneurship Summit in Marrakesh, we added a new component. What we found that when we do all these programs and come into countries, spend a couple of days working with folks, train them a little bit, we'd leave, we'd go back to the United States. And the people we left behind would say, that's great, thanks for coming, now what? So we created this website, a web-based platform to do mentoring, networks, connect people with money, that sort of thing. And so that's another thing that we've added. One of the things I wanted to mention, one of the reasons I wanted to mention the website, you probably heard yesterday President Obama talk about the need to focus on women entrepreneurs in particular. I'll now tell you one of the statistics we're not so proud of on our GIST programming. 20% of the participants in our GIST program are women, 20%. That means 80% are men. That's not a good ratio. But what we found was one of the reasons we probably have that lower statistic is because we have to move people to our locations. And by using website, we figured maybe we'll be able to increase the access for women. I'm proud to tell you that in its 6 months of operation, since we launched it in Marrakesh last year, our website has a community of about 120,000 people at this point, and 40%, over 40% of them are women. So we're starting to use that technology to address the gender gap that we've seen in entrepreneurship. But that's not why we're here today. And let me thank you all for coming to this event. Today, we're here to celebrate the GIST entrepreneurs who participated in the TechI event. This is an event we run every year. We announce the winners of a long contest over a 9-month period. You'll hear more about the details in just a minute. And the winners come here, they give their pitches, and we award them. This year, we're going to be giving out $140,000 in awards over the next hour or so. I'm very pleased to tell you that the amount of money that we have this year is almost double that from last year, and it's in large part because of some of the support we're getting from non-governmental players. MasterCard agreed to double the size of the awards this year. They matched everything that the U.S. government is giving. So if you don't mind, would you just applaud MasterCard's willingness? We're delighted to have that kind of support in this public-private kind of approach that we take. Another organization I'd like to mention is GIST. GIST is one of our partners on the website that I mentioned, and they'll be supporting a particular award for Women's Entrepreneur, the Women's Entrepreneur of the Year. So you'll hear about that award today. Applause for them. And in addition, I'll mention that MasterCard also is funding a particular award this year, and that is for the agricultural sector, the best science and technology project in the agriculture sector. So one more thing I wanted to mention to you. The 30 finalists that came to Kenya for the Entrepreneurship Summit for the GIST program, those 30 finalists, we didn't pick them. The United States government didn't pick them. Our partners who implement this, the AAAS, didn't pick them. Our panel of experts that have been here providing the mentorship didn't pick them. You all picked them. We did it by public voting. These guys submitted a video, and we actually had a public vote. The top 30 vote getters are the ones that came here. The reason I wanted to let you know that is because since we've launched this program, we've had over 1.2 million votes on entrepreneur videos through this program. Part of our goal was to get the word out about the importance of entrepreneurship, like both presidents were talking about yesterday. One of the best ways to do that is to ask people to vote, to send somebody to a conference like we've done here. 1.2 million votes over the course of the past 4 years. We're very proud of that. This past year, we added one new dimension to what we're doing through the TechI competition. In addition to voting for the 30 top finalists, we asked people to watch these videos and vote on the country that they felt we should do a boot camp in, that we should have a boot camp for. And we said the country that got the most votes, we would then have a special representation for those individuals from that country at our next boot camp in the region that would be held from that country. So I'm not going to tell you the name of the country. I'm not going to tell you the name of the country, but is there anyone here from Nigeria? Nigeria was the winner, so thank you for your vote. That's all I wanted to tell you about GIST. Before we get to the awards, though, we thought it might be useful just for you to get a flavor of some of the folks who have been involved in GIST and some of the contests over the past 4 years. So we've arranged for some of them to come and speak with you and kind of share some of their experiences. And to help understand what they've been through and talk with them, I'd like to introduce now George Mulamula. George is, my favorite part about George is he's a friend of mine. But I met George through GIST. And George is the CEO of Dar Techno Hama, which is an incubator in Dar es Salaam, not far from here. I met him when we did a boot camp in Dar es Salaam a couple of years ago. And George has just been an incredible supporter of this program, incredible insights on what it takes to be successful in Africa as an entrepreneur. So please join me in welcoming George Mulamula.
Jambo. No, that doesn't work, so we'll do something else. I'm going to say GIST-TechI, and what I want you to say is start with a low tone, goes higher and then higher, 3 times. You're going to say Jew, Jew, Jew. Okay, so let's try it. GIST-TechI.
Jew, Jew, Jew.
What does it mean? Jew means to go high, go high. So when you say Jew, 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 it means we want GIST-TechI to reach for the sky. So that's all it means, basically. So let's hope that works out. As I listened to Jonathan Margolis, and I listened to him talk during the entrepreneurship roundtable that we had at noon, basically. And basically, what I figured from that was that we all came from different parts of the world. So I want to say thank you for coming to Africa. Thank you for coming to Kenya in particular, basically. Whether it's your first time here or you're coming back again, I hope this was a good experience for you to learn from and exchange. And I want to tell you to be more creative, more innovative, and think out of the box. Let me give you a quick story, quick anecdote on that. A guy came back to my town, and he wanted to be an entrepreneur. He opened up a dry cleaning business. No, he had spare parts for cars, basically, and he called it Joe's Spare Parts. Business was so good, 6 months down the road, another guy came up and opened up to his left and called it ABC Spare Parts. And then another 3 months later, another guy opened up another spare parts to his right. So you're surrounded left and right by guys selling the same thing he's doing. Business went down. Do you know what he did? He removed the sign that says George's Spare Parts and put up a sign that said entrance. Now, be creative. Think out of the box. And you will get far. Be innovative, So this is what I want you all to take away from GIST-TechI as we move along, How many of you are from Asia? Wow, okay. How many of you from Europe? CIS countries, Okay, great. How many are from the Middle East? Okay. And then we have what you call, where's my friend? Down under, where does it go under? Basically, it's only one. Oh, the 2. And how many are from Africa? Wow. And you know what's the beauty of all this? GIST brought us together. So we should clap for GIST, basically. So I want to thank the mentors for giving me the time to mentor them, for allowing me to mentor them as we're here. And I also want to thank my fellow mentees or mentors that we work together for the exchange of ideas. But most of all, I want to thank AAAS. Jenny, I must have dropped Jenny and Brandon crazy, what I was doing. But I want to thank you for your patience, and I want to thank my friends from the State Department. We've done a lot together. So with that, let me introduce the first GIST-TechI winner, Ziad Sankari, to come in from Lebanon. And he has come a long way. So let's watch a video of where he has come from.
Some ideas can impact part of your life, but our idea will impact your whole life. My name is Ziad Sankari. I'm from Lebanon, and I'm representing Cardiodiagnostics. We are a team of engineers and medical doctors who came together in the hope of revolutionizing the cardiac industry. We have developed a system where the patient wears a device that monitors the heart 24/7, and when an abnormality is detected, this device sends ECG information and patient location automatically to a dedicated monitoring center where professional experts are going to look at the data and evaluate the case. This is a powerful technology because it has the potentials to save a human life.
All right. That was back in 2011 when I was participating in the GIST-TechI competition. And I think, like many of you here, I created that video in no time. It was just near the deadline, and I wasn't sure of what's going to come out of GIST. We ended up the winners of the 2011 GIST-TechI competition. The first prize, $20,000, along with a beautiful trip across different technological hubs in the United States. I want to tell you what to expect after GIST. So let me share my experience with that. I traveled to the United States, connected with hubs in the Silicon Valley, Boston, New York City, in Washington, D.C., and built a greater network to help start the company. Soon after, we raised $540,000 in seed capital, and we started Cardiodiagnostics officially in 2013 from Beirut, Lebanon. 1 year after that, we released our first medical technology into the market. Our devices are actually wearable devices that monitor the heart 24/7 and detect an abnormality through smart algorithms on board of those devices. When those algorithms detect abnormalities, they wirelessly transmit them to dedicated monitoring centers where professional medical experts are going to look at the data. So nurses, professional experts would review that data. If it's critical, they would call the emergency. If it's not critical but needs attention, they would communicate with the patient and with the physician to improve the health outcome of that particular patient. Our vision is to improve the impact and mortality of heart disease around the globe. How far have we gone along that path? 2013 is when we started. 2014, we released the first product into the market, and we started with a US customer. We monitored within 1 year 1,000 patients in our pilot study, and we raised quite a bit of money from the monitoring. But the most important impact was the fact that our customer reported 3 incidents of critical cardiac conditions where the patients were caught, an emergency was contacted, and their lives were saved. So basically, that technology was able to save 3 lives in 1 year. But we're a little more ambitious than that. That was just the beginning. In 2014, we started expanding around the world. We started as a team of 2 persons. Today, we are 14 engineers, scientists, and business developers who are working from 2 continents, from Lebanon and from the United States, and we are expanding businesses on both sides of the planet. Today, we have around 10 big customers in the US who are using and demoing our technology. We have signed distribution agreements in Saudi Arabia, in Lebanon, and in Kuwait. And soon enough, we're going to impact the $110 million mark that Jonathan Margolis talked about. So we are growing very quickly, and we're still optimistic about what's going to come next. But the most important of this journey is not the numbers and the impact by itself. It's the beauty of connecting to the wonderful entrepreneurs around the world, and the beauty of giving back to the community. I insisted personally, and my team insisted with me, to have a hub in Lebanon because we wanted to participate in growing the entrepreneurship ecosystem in the Middle East. Today, we employ people who would have been abroad and outside of the company have we not been able to create such competitive and high-end job opportunities for them. We also impact the healthcare system in the region by creating a high-end technology that can literally transform lives. And just last month, I met with the President of the United States in Washington, D.C. at the White House, and he named or labeled our technology as pioneering and thanked us for saving lives. So what we're going to do next is we're going to continue along these lines. We're going to continue to develop this technology further, grow the market opportunity, and continue to network with every one of you, because I'm expecting a lot of contact from all the people, and I'm very much willing to help contribute to that. I'm also happy to announce that a lot of people in my country have taken the GIST route and started applying and started asking me about how can we get into that beautiful network, that reputable network that is growing day by day. And I think the best answer is be motivated, dedicated, and think with a lot of passion towards your objectives, because you have the power to change the world, and we want to be part of the network that will always continue to change the world. Thank you very much. I want to introduce you to another innovator from the Middle East. Ms. Saad is going to take the mic to tell you more about her innovation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sure. Nermeen Saad, and I'm the founder of Ziad.net, which represents a virtual engineering company aiming to offer engineering services and tasks for engineering and construction companies operating. Good afternoon, everyone. First, I would like to thank GIST for this consideration. Appreciated. I owe you too much. I'm engineer Nermeen Saad. I'm from Jordan, but living in Saudi Arabia and work there. I'm one of the GIST 2013 winners as a best female competitor. I run a company named Ziad.net, which is an Arabic name, means things related to engineers. My company is a virtual engineering company aiming to offer engineering support services for construction companies operating in the Middle East and North Africa region, employing 100% Arab women female engineers. I have started my company as a simple platform to solve my own problem as an Arab woman female engineer, woman and female engineer, who cannot work outside her home because of certain social obligations. So I built that platform to work, and by chance I have discovered that this is not my only problem. It's a problem of thousands and hundreds of women engineers around my community. So this is the spark that let me move and transfer my idea into a business that will fulfill the gap between the high number of experienced and professional Arab women engineers and the lack of opportunity for them to work outside their homes, around their flexible time. I have started my idea on November 2012, and I was struggling a lot, and I was about to close it many times because I was struggling with the business thing. I'm an engineer, I'm not a businesswoman, and I have struggled a lot, and until I have applied to GIST. Everyone has a turning point in his life, and in my business life, GIST is my turning point. They just addressed my problems perfectly. And they didn't hesitate to give me all the tools and all the opportunities just to grow as a businesswoman and for my business. And I'm thankful for them very much. I'm about to cry. I'm a very emotional woman. So I'm just distracted a lot. Okay. Okay. From mentoring to training to programs to a visit to US and linking us with the most inspiring entrepreneurs and investors and companies in US, to funding, to mentors that I cannot just describe on this few minutes. Everything was perfect. And I'm actually very inspired by GIST, and I'm now planning to tap somehow in the entrepreneurship field, trying to help other Arab women entrepreneurs, since I know their challenges now. I know what it takes to open a business and how it's difficult to go on without the right people and the right answers of how to go on and overcome these challenges. Since I applied to GIST and been a winner, and all the programs and the training that I have get from GIST, I have registered my company officially in January 2014, and I started to look for a powerful partnership, and I did. And I'm now planning to expand my platform from a virtual engineering company to a virtual engineering city, where all engineering stakeholders can find their services as much as can be done online on one platform through us. And that's it. Thank you very much. Let me introduce Tony Ndongo from Kenya, and he will tell you about Kitabu.
Let's give her a real hand. She's come from very, very far. Let's give her a hand. Excellent.
In Kenya, an average family spends 45% of their disposable income on education for their children. Textbooks account for more than half this cost. And though the government has introduced free primary education, too many parents find the cost of textbooks prohibitive for them and their families. Publishers agree there are gaps in delivering the textbooks and are welcoming alternatives to this traditional system. So what if we could change the entire textbook delivery system and center it on the user rather than on the textbook? Welcome to Kitabu. Kitabu is a textbook subscription application on a low-cost Android tablet that works on a mobile payment platform. How does it do this? Simple. First, digitize all the textbooks in the education curriculum system, something most of the publishers in Kenya have already done. Second, pre-install all these books on a cheap Android-built solar-powered tablet. Third, create a mobile payment platform accessible countrywide but localized to the tablet. Fourth, sell the books on an hourly, daily, weekly, or monthly platform. Third, introduce being able to buy a chapter of the book or a page of the book instead of just the book itself. What does this do? 3 things. First, it lowers the original cost of the book by 72%. Second, it allows users to be able to buy what they need when they need it for as long as they need it, making the books extremely affordable. Third, it eliminates peripheral costs such as those of power and security. Kitabu revolutionizes the delivery of textbooks by addressing simultaneously the problem of availability, affordability, access, unseen cost, and convenience as a one-stop shop delivery system. Get one tablet, get every textbook. Everybody.
That was the logic behind it. Yeah? Pretty straightforward? Okay. Before GIST in 2012, which is when we won Best Startup, which was amazing, I was in an incubator, which I started called the NILAB, Nairobi Labs, currently run by Sam Gishuru, a good friend of mine, here in Kenya. And I knew that running a business, starting a business in Kenya was very, very difficult. So my thought process was, what if we got techies who start businesses to sit in a single room and then go out and get contracts from companies that we can bring into the room and say, okay, fine, we know you got your startups, but come, let's clash minds, solve this technical problem, give them a product they can buy, and then instead of finding angel investors or finding seed money or whatever, let's take the money we get and then split it among ourselves. So we became a co-collaborative consultancy firm. Apparently one of the few in the world at that time. That was 2009 and 10 or something. And we're successful to the point of raising $5.5 million for that. So I did know how it felt like to get something right. But I left that because my passion was always education. Being dyslexic, it's one of the things that I struggle with the most in my life. I've still never picked up my degrees from university because it took me 10 years to do something that an average person did in 4 or 5. Didn't see the point. So at the end of that, I knew that education has always been a struggle because I grew up in Kenya, studied in Kenya, private and public school, mostly public school. And as I got into university, I understood and appreciated the difficult levels of education. There's difficulty in accessing, in costing, in making it work. It's just crazy. So let's solve that problem, which is the first thing that we did. We went into where the need is. And here's where GIST became important. The week we won was the week we were going to shut it down because government deals with education alone. They don't even have stakeholders. It's just government. And we'd worked from February the 22nd, which is when we registered the company, to around September to just try to get a meeting with one guy. And he was the least important guy in the structure. And we knew, I mean, when, oh, you're GIST finalist, I was like, hey, at least I get to go to Malaysia before I come and crash the company and go do something else. We were done. It was finished. And we'd done so much because we knew we needed policy to make this work. And so we got there, we pitched, did the best we could, And then on the day of winning the award, I remember the conversation I had with myself. I was like, oh man, it's so sad that this company is going to get finished. And then we get called in front and we're made to stand in a line. And I'm like, when I close it, what will I do with the name? Because the name is good. Kitabu, it means, book in like 19 languages. That's pretty good. I wonder who I'll sell it to. Then, number 2, and he was called and he went. I was like, hey, that's a cool guy. He should win. I'd gain him money as well. So I'm talking. And then they mentioned us. Even totally blows you away. Change. Have you ever seen a mind change? Like mind. Have you seen? Do you know how you meet somebody who's attractive and you go, you don't. It's just that was really something for us because it occurred to me that this could work. It could. And let me tell you how powerful that was for us. When we got back, you know that guy I was trying to meet? Yeah, I went to the boss's 5 levels up, found out which club he goes to on Saturdays to play golf, and we found him. And he was scared of us because we were so determined. We stood between him and his golf ball. And we said, we're going to meet, we're going to have this conversation right here on the grass. And we did. And here we are 2 and something years later. And we have an application so good that not only are we going to roll it out in Kenya, we're doing it in Zambia, Zimbabwe, Rwanda, and Uganda in the next 6 to 8 months. And it's very simple. You've seen what the concept is. And the reason why I say this is important is because all of us entrepreneurs, in reality, what that word means, we are the crazy idiots trying to change the world. And to be a crazy idiot, you actually have to do crazy, idiotic things. And GIST was a platform to help me keep doing what I'm doing now. And I guarantee you, you don't have to pay me to do what I do. I'm living the dream because my job is my hobby, and I love it. So I encourage you, even as we were successful, and as somebody here wins or somebody here doesn't win, take this as a stepping stone to the greatest thing you can do with your life, which is add value to somebody else's. Thank you very much. I will sit. I'm exhausted. I'm just going to sit.
No, it's you. You're the one who goes there according to this program. Oh, this. I'm not doing this.
Just hand it around. Hi, everybody. My name is Claire Lee with Silicon Valley Bank. And I have the humbling experience of being on stage with these guys. Unbelievable. Congratulations. Really incredible achievement. So we have heard from you your very interesting journeys. And I wanted to ask you a couple of questions. And then we're going to open it up, actually, for you guys to ask some questions. And Sarah is down here with the mic, so just put your hands up when you're ready. But I wanted to ask you one question each first on that fascinating journey that you've just made. So let's start with you first. Ziad, this was 6 years ago when you won. And you said that it pretty much was a tipping point for you, and it really changed everything. And here you are looking at US expansion. Where do you think you could take this? I mean, really the sky is the limit. What do you see as the exit strategy, for instance? Do you think this is one of the big unicorns from Lebanon, the first unicorn we might see, $1 billion company? What are you going to do next?
Sure. So 2011 is when we won the GIST-TechI competition. So 4 years ago was the tipping point when we started to go global. I see the world as one united entity. I don't, personally as an entrepreneur, I don't see the borders anymore. I see just one globe, one problem, and we're trying to create a solution that could fit multiple cultures, different people, but with the same pain and the same agony. And whether it's led by entrepreneurs from Lebanon, Jordan, Africa, America, it doesn't matter as long as you're adding value to the world. We do want to be a big exit. We have 2 paths to exit, either go through a merger and acquisition with a bigger company, and that's one objective, and we're developing partnerships with the big names that you hear about in the industry. And another possible exit is to take it all the way to an IPO, and that's another possibility. Now, we definitely want to be one of the unicorns, and that's probably the beginning of our dreams. Where we exceed eventually, the sky's the limit, as you just mentioned.
Well, I do hope that you're going to join the Ubers and the Airbnbs, and best of luck to you. Tony, you have really had a fascinating journey, and to find out that you're also dyslexic is actually enlightening, because we're running something with Silicon Valley Bank in the US for dyslexic entrepreneurs, and trying to encourage investors to understand how dyslexics see the world differently. So we'd be delighted if you can join us in the Valley for something in the fall, early winter, where we want to feature fantastic people like you who've overcome this type of adversity to be here today. So you're innovating in the EdTech space, or education technology. It's really interesting to see what you've done. What do you think is the future of EdTech? I mean, do you think that now that you're expanding throughout Africa, is this something that you think is on a positive trajectory, or do you think that EdTech is maybe going to stall as a kind of a category for investment? Tell us about your whole viewpoint of the market of EdTech.
Thank you for the interview. I mean, the invitation. I totally would love to come do that. Africa's always been known to leapfrog everything, whether it is finance or the need for infrastructure, banking, all of that. And EdTech is one of those things that has just been coming. It's just been coming. And I don't know who's not been seeing it coming. It has been coming. The trick was always the hardware. But the reality of Africa versus everybody else, if there's any continent on this planet that is a blank sheet of paper, this is it. You can literally build almost anything you want on this planet, on this continent. But the thing that is really important for that is the access to information, access to skill sets. You have more women in Saudi Arabia who've got the skill. It's the opportunity they don't have. See what I'm saying? So that's what you find in many parts of the world. In Africa, you've got a lot of people who are willing to learn. It's the opportunity to learn that's lacking. So if anything, I know that the three things that are going to happen in EdTech in Africa. Number one, no one is going to dictate the terms of what works and what doesn't work. Whether it's a non-governmental organization or a tech company or a startup, no one knows how it's going to work, which means everybody can play in it. The second thing, which I think is even more important, is there's less regulation because it's new, which is good. Kitabu will probably fail in the US because of privacy issues. Terribly fail. Completely fail. But in Kenya, we need to be able to overcome some of these regulations because we need to know how STEM affects girls. And we can't measure that if we can't be able to track the education among girls in a community of girls and boys in a particular part of the country. So those kind of data mined content that we are able to access through EdTech even makes the application more intuitive. But the third thing, which is the most important, is people want it. There's nothing better than creating something people want. Even before we had a minimal viable product, we had people who had lined up and put money in us saying, once it comes out, I want you to give me back my money's worth of the application time and space. So if there ever was a good market to try something, is a market where the demand is so much more higher than the supply, even when the supply doesn't exist yet. And that's the continent we're in. Yeah.
Thank you, Tony. And then finally, I mean, your story has really been very impactful for a lot of people here, not just women and engineers, but really I think you've touched a lot of people between Friday and Sunday in describing your journey. Tell us a little bit about the challenges, maybe in a little bit more detail, and how you overcame those. I mean, you said before you had to think differently, and you really have to kind of almost hit reset or reboot and come at it very differently. So how did you do that? And what advice would you give to others, young girls, young women that are facing the same kind of adversity and circumstances like you did?
The main challenge that I have faced at the beginning of my business is the lack of information in the business field. I'm an engineer and I have nothing to do with business. And I have realized that I have studied more than 18 years of my life, spending time in school, in university, in courses, but I have realized that I didn't take any subject of how to start a business. And this is a very huge mistake and problem in my country, and I believe in many countries also. So I started to talk to my government, people who are working in the business field, that this field and this subject should be inserted in our curriculums. I believe now, after I started my business, that there is hundreds and maybe thousands of very good ideas, brilliant ideas, has been buried with their owners because they don't know how to deal or how to start a business. So this is the main challenge. My advice to any entrepreneur who has an idea, first, start. No matter how, just to start. Don't just start to think and put plans, and just start, put it on, launch it. And then problems will appear. Even if you are spending 10 years of your life just planning, there are problems that will appear, so just to start. The second advice, after you start, try to find the right people to ask. Don't talk to moderators. Just go to the people in charge. Go to the people who are willing to give you the right answers. Don't just tell your neighbor, where should I go? Your friend, no. Go Google everything. Choose which is the best people who can give you the best advices in your business. That's it.
Yeah. So have you had time to dream up some questions? There must be a couple. Because we haven't been that comprehensive in our mining for information. Yeah. So Sarah over here. Maybe you can just introduce yourself quickly too. Thanks.
Tawfiq Rahim, Director of GlobeSight, Strategy Advisory Firm for Philanthropy in Dubai. Thank you very much. These are some really great, inspiring stories, and I was really impressed by the depth in which many of you talked about the initiatives you're working on. I mean, the comment about track data mining on STEM and girls, I think, is quite fascinating. The question I would have to any of you or all three of you is, what's really been your biggest disappointment these last few years? Even since the elation of, let's say, the GIST win or others, you're getting a lot of accolades. And it's great because you have great ideas, but what's really been just truly disappointing, even disheartening? And then you can talk about how to overcome that, maybe to put a positive spin.
Yeah, we're not going to dwell on that. Okay, so actually, good question. Thank you. Ziad, why don't you start? In the 6 years, what kind of disappointments have you seen?
Well, probably the biggest disappointment I've had so far is what GIST is trying to change, which is the fact that the entrepreneurial ecosystem is not mature enough in my country, in my region. And that brings a lot of difficulties. It's very difficult to hire talents because they haven't heard in the past about a company that made it big. They don't understand what it's like to join a startup. They haven't heard any of their connections or friends who have done big, impressive job within the same country in a startup. So that's one challenge that we have to face. You have to talk to people. So oftentimes I go to meetings where I want to close a deal, and sometimes it's a big deal. And I get surprised when the CEO tells me, where's your boss? And I'm like, I'm the youngest person, but I'm unfortunately the only person to talk to if you want to close the deal. So that's another challenge. The ecosystem is not prepared to see young people who are decision makers and able to close big deals and make actual action on the ground. The third probably is the lack of the infrastructure and on the regulatory and on the economic level. So the countries around our regions, our target markets need to understand that there should be a room for innovators and startup founders to have a special path to the market. We cannot be treated like the bigger industries in our countries. We need to have facilities. We need the system to grow and push us towards the markets. And this has been a challenge. And I do believe that with the impact of the entrepreneurship thrust that it's bringing into the region and into Africa and other parts of the world, this is going to change positively.
The disappointing point of my business life was, unfortunately, that I was not encouraged at the beginning from my own country. It has took me a long road to US and be awarded there and be recognized by them, and then coming back and being awarded in Jordan and Saudi Arabia and other Arab countries. So although I'm very thankful to GIST, but this was disappointing from a local point of view. I wish that I could be first encouraged by my own country and then going out. No defense, I love everybody, and thank you.
Nice. I think my biggest disappointment, to add on to the two things that they've said, because I think being from Kenya, I represent quite a few African countries as well, when I say that there's a lack of encouragement, but there's also all those failures, is entrepreneurs themselves. I think if you're going to be a medical doctor, you'll go to school for X amount of years. If you're going to be an athlete, you're going to wake up at 4 in the morning and run until 10 at night. We're going to be a really good entrepreneur. Because in the first stage, even up to the seed stage, it's really the entrepreneur, the venture capitalist, or the angel investor, or whatever, is trusting. I've come to find that entrepreneurs are, I'm trying to look for a good word, are cowards somewhere, sissies there, somewhere in the, the chickens. There you go, chicken. You don't, and I'm speaking to an entrepreneur, you don't get value from yourself if you don't put value in yourself. I think you all know the 10,000-hour rule. You have to put in the time and show that you understand. Even if you are not in the sector, you have to understand financials. I can almost, it's difficult for me to get business, but I had to teach myself financial, P&L statements, understand projections, break-even analysis, all these things. I had to learn the language because we're getting into a space that nobody really taught us how to use. So for me, my biggest disappointment is when we went for pitches, for example. I would pitch, and then 7 other companies would pitch, and we'd stop for a moment so that the people listening could come on stage and show the other 7 companies left how to pitch, because they were doing such a terrible job, because nobody put in the time and effort to find out how to do a slide deck with just 10 slides. You go and you do PowerPoint, is death. And it's just, be a professional entrepreneur. Just because we're entrepreneurs doesn't mean we have to be scruffy. And we'll bootleg, that's fine. Not bootleg, sorry, that's the wrong word. We will bootstrap, that's the right word. We'll bootstrap for a while. We'll definitely live rough because you're taking all your time and effort into the business you're doing. But we know where the vision is. And that's the second point. A lot of entrepreneurs don't see the bigger picture. And I've experienced this being in Africa. We are creating products for Nairobi very many times. Not Kenya, Nairobi. Whereas our entrepreneurs in other parts of the world are creating applications for the world. We need to think that way. Once you're building for the world, before we got Kitabu on the Play Store, we had Kitabu Tanzania, we had just the icon. We didn't actually have the application, just the icon, so that we can be able to get on Google Play and just buy those spaces or get the websites .co.tz. We thought large. We had $7,000 in the bank, but that's how we thought. And because of that, we were able to raise more capital. Because when the VC spoke, he was like, so this is what you're doing, impressive. What else do you've got? We opened and showed him the growth. He saw you're serious. That's what he invested in. So those two things. Work hard to be a good entrepreneur and think big. Oh yeah, any more questions?
Hi. Neto is my name. I'm from Nigeria, one of the TechI finalists. Thank you so much. All your stories have been very inspiring. My question, I suppose, is what would you advise as, because what you do, you're involved with trying to get people to sort of change their ways of thinking and ways of doing their business currently. What would you advise entrepreneurs to, what tips should we take in when we speak to people? How do we get them around to our way of thinking and getting them to subscribe to what we do?
So just to be clear on your question, you want to know what tips can I give you to get people to believe in you or to buy into your business idea, right?
Both, because
both. To believe
convincing
in
a lot of people, yeah, so both.
Okay, so to believe in and buy into your idea, okay. From my experience, don't tell them what you do, tell them the problem you solve. If I come and tell you I do subscription textbooks, I'm not saying anything. But if I come and say 9 million kids in Kenya can't access textbooks, and I think we've cracked that. Yeah, who here doesn't want to hear that story? You all actually do want to hear the story now, don't you? You see, it's not about what I do, it's about what problem I've solved. That's number one. And second thing is, don't try to be smart. Do not try to be the clever one in the room. Most of the times when they asked us, like the STEM comment I was just given, what are you going to do with the data you've mined and gotten? And most of my answers, most of the time was, I don't know. And I really didn't. But do you know what happened when I said that the second time at some event? IBM came out to us and said, we have a big data system. We just don't have the data. Would you mind if we work together? And I was like, will you pay for everything? And say yes. I'm like, oh yeah, of course, let's do it. I think that's it. Don't try to be the smartest in the room and tell a story. I think if you can get those two things right, you're perfectly fine.
I have another perspective. I'm going to quote an answer for your question from the legend Jeff Hoffman. He was asked a question similar to this one while we was in the US, and he get that a brilliant answer. His answer was, do a very good job, a really good job, and be sure that the result will always be good and perfect. And he gave 2 examples. He said Twitter and Facebook, they are both a very successful business. Everybody is fighting to acquire Twitter, but no one asked for Facebook. But still, both of them are very good businesses, and they're growing. So you just go and do a good job, and the result will be good.
Sure. If you want my opinion, my experience is that it took me 1.5 years to figure out how to communicate the idea to an average person with no background in healthcare. The key is to perfect your message and to make it simple, and to tell them the why rather than the what. Why you do it, and then go into the what. I would give you a very simplistic way. Stop somebody on the street and pitch to them, 30-second pitch, and ask them, what did you get? If they understand what you're trying to cascade, then you're doing an excellent job. If not, then go back and try to reiterate your message until it's simple and straightforward for everybody.
My advice is to get Tony to coach you before you do any pitching. He's pretty good at it. Do we have any more questions? How are we doing on time, Sarah? Okay, so we can take, one more question. Sorry, Sarah. Maybe that's your next business, Tony. Entrepreneur coaching.
Hi. My name is Kayula Mlenga, and I'm coming from Zambia. If I heard, is it Tony, the bookman? Yeah, if I heard you right, you're saying you are launching in Zambia, not so? I think that would be brilliant. But one question I have for you is with regards sales strategy. I think you know that there's such a platform in Zambia. It's called iSchool by the late Mark Bennett, brilliant guy just like you. And I think that platform has not delivered as we expect it to deliver as Zambians. And the reason why I think so is because of the cost associated with the tablet. He sells his tablet at somewhere around $140. So I don't know if you have a strategy to reduce the tablet price for an average Zambian. Thank you.
Okay, so good question, quite specific, Tony, about tablet question. Yeah, do you want to take another one? Sure. Beside you, thank you.
Okay. Hi, I'm Nadia. I'm from Colombia. So, easy question. What was the most difficult lesson you have learned on the job?
The most difficult lesson you've learned on the job?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the development you're entrepreneur.
So which one you want to take first, Ziad?
Well, I'll pass it to you. Yeah, I can start with yours. That's actually a difficult lesson that I learned. The most important thing you learn from entrepreneurship is perseverance. A lot of people started with great ideas. I used to teach classes on entrepreneurship in my community, and the first thing I start with, an idea is worth absolutely nothing. You can't put a dollar mark on an idea. You need to persevere and put a lot of sweat behind it until it turns into reality. And I actually thought, I read that a lot before I started the entrepreneurship journey, and I would take that for granted at the beginning. But it was only when I started deep into entrepreneurship I realized how serious and how meaningful that is. There are a lot of hard moments when you realize you don't want this anymore. You want to quit. You want to just go back, turn out the door, get a job 9 to 5, and just have absolutely nothing to worry about after 5 p.m. But unless you have the perseverance and hard work and willing and ambition to go all the way until the end, you can't make it big. And I think this is the most important lesson I have learned, and probably I would pass it to anybody I connect with.
The hardest lesson that I have, it was a mistake, and I taken the lesson from it, is the stupid, blind trust, especially in the beginning. I believe that you should trust, but be clever while you trust people. I have lost many clients because of blind trust. I have been cheated many times because of a blind trust. So my advice and my challenge here is that be trustful but clever one.
Agreeing with what the two of them have said, the biggest lesson I learned is money can be a very bad thing. Big investment, $250,000, $100,000, $150,000. Any entrepreneur who's got more money than they need is in a very bad slide to complete devastation. We've turned down money as a company simply because it would make us too comfortable. We've become responsible about our companies because we've persevered, because we've looked VCs in the face that were going to give us a lot of money for a chunk of our company and told them no, because we knew that once we sold ourselves to them, our vision could be diluted. And any entrepreneur here who's working for the money is already in big trouble. Make your vision clear. I think for me that was the one thing I wish I did a little earlier. Make your vision very clear. Who are you doing this for? You know, when I started, I was doing it for people like myself. As I went along, I got married and had 2 little beautiful girls. And I'm doing it now for the 3 women in my life. And that perseverance has to be consistent, and the vision has to be clear. So when you make decisions, you're making decisions with your head, and your head on the completely screwed in straight. Because the biggest mistake you could make is sacrificing vision for comfort. And a lot of entrepreneurs are doing that. And to the second question that you asked me, or the second question we had, telcos in Kenya are the biggest partners we have. I'll give you a practical example. The tablet we have costs exactly the same as the tablet you have, but our tablet will retail for $15, simply because we added a new stakeholder into the game. We brought telcos in and said, look, here's a tablet, put a SIM card in it, kill the switch, which means the SIM card is permanent, and then we will add audio, video, learning games, a classroom chat room, a store where you can buy more apps, and a past tests and exams platform. All of those in one app. Nice, kindergarten style, images, beautiful. This means that they will be needing data every now and then to chat with their friends or to do an assignment or whatever. We added stakeholders to the mix. When we come to your country, the reason we will kill the competition, I say this with confidence, is because we are not going to come just with publishers. We will come with everybody else and grow the stakeholder mix. You're always more powerful based on the people you have around you. The idea can be simple. There were very, very many WhatsApps. It was bought for 19 billion because there were very many WhatsApp users. There are so many others. Uber is at the front, but there's Lyft at the back and so many other partners in the back. It's because they've done a numbers game. Do the same thing for your business. That's what we learned. Don't walk in the room alone. In fact, if anything, walk in the room last, let your partners walk in first and speak for you.
Thank you. So I know we're out of time, so thank you, everybody. We're actually going to hand over to Ed, who I believe is going to make the very important announcements about who won the awards. That's what we're all here for. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ed Derrick with the American Association for the Advancement of Science. We're the world's largest general scientific society. We're the publisher of a premier research journal called Science and the Science family of journals. And we're an international non-government association with a mission to advance science, engineering, and innovation throughout the world for the benefit of all people. So we're pleased to have a role here in the TechI competition. I want to thank State for the opportunity to be part of this effort to encourage, to empower, to embolden these young entrepreneurs from around the world. They were taking their advances in science and technology and, as Jonathan pointed out, creating wealth, creating jobs, and addressing societal goals. Our role has been to administer the program, from the receipt of the proposals to managing the review through the process, I'll tell you in a second, to organizing the mentoring and judging. This year, the competition was opened to the entrepreneurs from 86 different countries. And 792 responded to the initial call from 74 of those 86. I don't know what happened to the other 12, but you'll all be responsible for helping us with that next year. We had to whittle this down to the semifinals. There were 76 at the semifinal stage. As Jonathan pointed out, this stage was determined by global voting, online voting. Everybody went to go vote online, and over 400,000 people voted this year to bring you the 30 finalists that have been here at this competition to do their final pitching. And in just a minute, we will start announcing the awards. But these folks have received not just the chance to come here and make a pitch to maybe get an award to use for startup capital, but they've also received training through webinars before they came, through an intense 2-day program with the mentors just before the GES started. And they will have opportunities, as has been pointed out on the website through the GIST-network.org and through us, opportunities for mentoring and networking afterwards. So anyway, we won't delay any longer. You've heard from previous winners, things are going very well. I hope to see all of you next year, whether you're contestants, whether you're going to be mentors, or whether you'll be voters, because we'll always look for more votes. I think as far as this program has gone over the 6 years that it's been, we've gone from, George, we've gone from Jew to Jew, but we need your help for next year to keep going to Jew. So we will see you there. All right, let me bring George up to help with the administration of the awards.
Thank you.
Yes. Good.
Ah, yeah. The moment you've been waiting for. And pray and cross your fingers that the computer doesn't crash. Then we won't know who won then, you know, basically. Anyway, the first award, basically, is the GIST-TechI Social Impact. This award is given to the science and technology innovator who uses science to improve the lives of the global community. And the winner is, drum roll? No drum roll? Okay. The winner, thanks. Okay, thanks. The winner is Tendekai Katsiga from Botswana. And he has won $5,000 US. Okay. So while they're taking the picture, because of time, we need to continue. The other prize, wow, is Science and Technology Excellence. And the winner for this gets $3,500. And this award recognizes the entrepreneur who has developed the most innovative product or service. And the winner is Patricio Avila from Chile. And the company is Platec. And Platec proposes to replace animal serum with a more cost-effective and stable method using platelets developed outside of animal bodies. Okay. All right. So the next winner, while they're doing the photo shot here, is the Spirit of TechI. And this prize gets $2,500. And for this prize, the winner is, can I read this? Samson Fiado from Malawi. And for the next prize is GIST Best Female Entrepreneur. If I can call Julian to come and say a few words, as they are the sponsor of this award.
Thank
Thank you, everyone. It's a real honor to be here today with you all. It's inspiring to witness so many impressive individuals, and like we've heard, the entrepreneurs before, here building thriving ecosystems throughout Africa and beyond. GIST's mission is a cornerstone of this future growth, and we aim to facilitate access to entrepreneurs to early stage funding, and that globally. As an active partner of GIST, we are inspired by the way they wish to promote women entrepreneurs, and this resonates strongly with GIST's value to actually support the role of women in entrepreneurship. I'm delighted to be the GIST ambassador for the Take1 Award for Best Female Entrepreneur, and George, you've got the name of the winner.
Oh, okay. So, do I have?
Yes.
Did you give it to me? Are you sure?
Well, I'm pretty sure.
Are you sure? Okay, fine. Let me look. All right. The winner for this is Mojisola Ojebode from Nigeria. The company is Bioresources. You can read this part. Yeah, read this part.
Bioresources is developing crop protection agents for the bioprotection of cowpea seeds against weevils.
Thank you. Like that.
Pre-rehearsed program.
Okay, so I'll continue while they take the photo shots. The next is the sector awards, the sectors that were identified, energy, healthcare, and ICT, and we'll see what they are basically. It identifies the innovators with the largest impact in each of the 4 GIST-TechI sectors, which are agriculture, energy, healthcare, and information communications technology. So, you already got the agriculture one. So the energy one, the prize is $5,000. And the winner is, yeah, I can read that, Rudy Cook from South Africa. And the company is Water Brothers. And Water Bros seeks to remodel water distribution by putting high-tech water purification within reach of the local community using reverse osmosis technology.
Congratulations.
Okay. Wow. I'm told I have to do agriculture. The same person gets it again? Yes, that's possible. Oh, okay. All right. So, I wish anyway, in your shoes, Moji Sole. Please, can you come up for the agriculture one? I thought it was an error in there. It's not.
Twice.
Wow. Okay. The next one is in ICT, and the prize for this is $5,000, and the winner is Ibrahim Bernardo from the Philippines. And the company is called Sari Software Solutions. SARI is a micro-enterprise empowerment project meant to empower SARI store operators through the greater financial knowledge. In the southern part of Africa, we call them tuck shops. And the next one is in health. Again, the prize is $5,000. And this winner particularly it's a novel healthcare marketplace that connects female doctors to millions of undeserved patients in real time. And the company is Dr. Hers, and the winner is Ifat Zafar Aga from Pakistan. Now, we had two groups. We had the startups and the ideas. And now in the idea, the next set of prizes are in the idea. And we're getting closer to now the top 3+1. The +1 is known as the honorable mention, basically. It's good to mention them. And this one goes to a company called BT. BT is a startup which utilizes innovative technology to use sugarcane bagasse to manufacture green construction materials. And the winner is Sabira Merin Saba. And she gets $2,500. Third place. Wow. Third place gets $8,500. And this goes to Charles Bate from Uganda. And the company is Tree Adoption Uganda with Tree Capital. It's a program which will enable Ugandan youth with agribusiness ideas in rural communities to access startup capital and provide training. Wow, I like that walk. For 8,000, I'll walk like that. Second place. Don't I wish I were in your shoes now? Mojisola Ojebode. I'm glad she's not wearing high heels, you know, let them fit in them, basically. First place. Now I need a drum roll because the amount is $25,000, you know, basically. And the winner is, oh no, I can't read it. What is it? Rudy Cook. Pardon me? I should read it again? Okay, I'll read it again. Water Brothers seek to remodel water distribution by putting high-tech water purification within reach of the local community using reverse osmosis technology. He's winning it for the second try. All right, we now move to the stage after the idea stage, you know, basically. And that is the startup. And we start with the honorable mention. This goes to a company called Snap. Snap is the first of its kind solution to build apps, websites from a smartphone. Oh, you already know yourself. This is Gabriel Gurovich. Third prize goes to Blessing Mene from Nigeria. He's got a company called Unfire. Unfire tackles the high cost of poultry livestock feeds by producing novel, cultural acceptable feeds that are highly nutritious and low cost. And now we go to the second place. Now he gets 8,000, and second place startup gets 15,000. Wow. But I'm happy. I should have been first, you know, but okay, fine. It's Taita Nyetich from Kenya. Company Aluminium Greenhouse. Aluminium greenhouses seek to create limitless integrated modern greenhouse with sensors that monitor temperature, humidity, soil moisture, and most importantly, the water supply. And the first prize, drum roll again, please. Thank you very much. And this goes all the way to Latin America. Which country is this, basically? Yes, it goes to Carlos Bernal, to Mexico. The company is Eido Innova with Glucose Alarm. Glucose Alarm is a diabetic urine glucose sensor that is placed inside the toilet bowl and sends information to the patient's smartphone, physician, or insurance company. So you don't have to prick your finger anymore and feel the pain. All right. So, with that, but I think all of us are winners, if I might say. If you can give a hand for all the TechI. We are all winners in some way. So thank you very much. We did that. So I believe we do a photo shot of all the winners up front. Where's Sarah?
We can do that in a minute. We'll do that afterwards.
At the end?
We'll do it afterwards.
We are at the end. Oh, okay. So now I hand over to... Okay. Oh, I got excited by this, basically. So I should hand over to Jonathan, please. There we go.
Thank you. Thanks, George.
Yes.
Thank you, George. As you can tell, we are a pre-rehearsed program. I just have a couple of closing comments to make. I'll be very brief. Let me ask a question to begin. How did we do? Okay? Good? Thumbs up? So what you saw was from a competition that was held across 86 countries. We have global aspirations, so I'm delighted to be able to tell you that we are going to be enlarging our GIST pool from 186 up to, from 86 countries to 122 countries that will be eligible next year to participate in the GIST competition, which is really a wonderful outcome for us, and you can see from the map where those countries are located. If you haven't gotten this message, let me make it abundantly clear. While this event may be ending, the GIST network wants to stay in touch with you. We have multiple mechanisms to do that. So what I'll ask you to do is find ways to keep engaged with us. Join our S&T and innovation community. And you should be seeing by now up on the screen the network location. Well, we skipped a slide, but that's okay. I'm sure our techno folks will find it. And the third thing I'm going to mention is not only can you join our network, but our next program opportunity will be a web chat that we'll be hosting on August 6th. And once the site comes up, there it is. And you'll have a chance. And this web chat will be focused specifically on how do you get your startup going in Africa. So if you're interested for that, you'll have a chance to engage with some expert entrepreneurs who have actually firsthand experience in how to do that. Web chat is August 6th. We look forward to seeing or hearing from you there. And again, please join the network. One final round of applause for all of the winners today and for yourselves for joining us today. Thank you very much. In case you didn't know, the event is now over, but could all the winners come on up and we'll take a picture, and then okay. So if all the winners would come up and we'll take a picture.